Good morning, good afternoon. Don't say good night yet. I'm not in a swimming pool, I promise. It kind of looks that way. It makes me feel like I'm swimming. I'm swimming through a pool. I'm swimming, even though you can't see my arms. I don't know. I'm trying some new backgrounds, so we'll see. Tell me if you hate it, I guess. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's outrage backgrounds. Outrage marketing meets outrage backgrounds, right? Thanks, everyone. Sorry about the time mix-up earlier. Australia time is hard on this side of the pond. I was like, I didn't even know there was more than, I guess I could have figured there was more than one time zone, but I was just like, Australia time zone. Cool. I matched everything up because Jexxa is in Australia, a guest today. And I was wrong. So won't be the first and certainly not the last. Did I get that wrong? Won't be the last and wasn't the first. That's what I meant to say. Anyways, I've had some coffee, but a long time ago. Are y'all ready to get started? I think, I've had just about everyone from Liquid Loans on. I say that, but I know there's like so many people involved in the project and doing things. I haven't had Hopper on yet, and maybe a couple other folks, but I've had a few on the show so far. And it's one of my favorite projects as far as like finding like real utility for letting you do things on PulseChain and with Pulse and stuff that there's a lot of good community projects out there, but they're doing something I think is very unique and special. And man, the team behind it, they're just some smart cookies. I'll say that. So say hi to the chat real quick before we bring Jexxa on. Scott, you could feel free to badger Jexxa about all the testnet questions. I'm sure he's prepared. I know they've all heard it from everyone. Jexxa says, yep, thanks for joining us. And Timothy X512 looking forward to yeah, me too. I definitely think we got someone on who's going to bring down the hammer as far as some of the crypto speak going on lately. No pressure. Without further ado, I'm going to stop wasting everybody's time. Jexxa, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Really looking forward to this one. You've seen all the work you've done in the background, and I think we're going to have a really good chat here. You've got a whole list of things for us to cover. So yeah, glad to be here.
I primed the audience for us. I primed them. They're pumped.
for about an hour.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure half of them probably showed up an hour ago. They're like, oh, this stuff. They don't even have their stuff together to get the time zones right. So again, everyone, I apologize for that. I usually don't get them that wrong, but I was a little bit off today.
So I think everyone assumes when you say you're from Australia, you're from Sydney or Melbourne, and I'm on the total opposite side of the country. So yeah, we're in a whole different time zone. We're about 4 time zones away, so it's all good. Hey,
I feel you. When you say America, everyone thinks New York, LA, and like San Francisco. No, most people are not from there. Funny enough. Not saying there's a huge population in Perth or anything, but it's a city that I've always liked to venture travel and stuff, and I always wanted to visit Perth, and not that it's like a super adventurous place, but like Darwin, for example. Just trying to think of really places not a lot of people go in Australia. I think it's such a beautiful country.
It's great. The thing Perth is really known for, or Western Australia is known for, is just really long, sweeping, beautiful coastline. Just crystal blue waters, white sands. Yeah, really spoilt for beaches over this part. So if you're ever coming over this way, make sure it's a summer trip. So you can make the most of the lifestyle.
I don't know, man. I've heard the summers it gets about 40 degrees Celsius.
Well, yeah, 44 is pretty common each year.
In American speak, that's way over 100 and very, very hot. That's great. No, I've been to Australia. I've been to Gold Coast. I've been to Sydney. I have a friend in Melbourne. But it's been a while. It's been quite a few years, and looking forward to coming back someday. We got to do like a snorkeling at the Great Barrier Reef. Took a plane over there.
Yep.
Oh, it was amazing. We had a great Australia trip quite a while back. So you don't have to sell me on the country. It's great. It's great. And that's something I want to mention too. Your 19 episode series, amazing. I was looking at the playlist. I'm like, oh my gosh, like you would put a lot of time and effort into those into that material.
Well, we were talking about this just in the Green Moon. Then I said, whenever I get on a stream, although I do a lot of long form content with the HEX Late Show, I'm more about just getting information out there as fast as I can, as simple as you can, just so I know everyone's time is really important. So I don't want to feel like I'm just waffling. I'd rather, just make it jam full of good content. And that's what those 19 episodes do, is I try to keep them between sort of 10 to 15 minutes. Now I blow over on a few of those, and they go out to half an hour, but it's just straight content. It's just all alpha, as they say. So it's really just trying to either distill a concept and make it really simple for people, or just straight up education. It's
Hey, a lot of people love it.
All good info, no waffle.
No, minimal waffling. No, it's
minimal waffle.
No, a lot of people like it. I mean, I saw it and I was very impressed, and I was like, oh, I was even more excited to have you on because, you should know a thing or two about liquid loans. Having made all that content, you're just like some psychopath that just like copy and paste. I don't think that's the case. Thanks again for getting up on Saturday morning.
There's no original ideas. That's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Mitchell says, thanks for getting on Saturday. Yeah, it is the next day. Jexxa is indeed living in the future. That's how it works on the way down south. So yeah, Saturday morning at 8 o'clock his time. So everyone, please go out of your way to appreciate him for that. It's a measly 5 p.m. where I'm at. I am delaying my dinner, so if you want to pat me on the back, feel free to. But no worries. I've had coffee. So
I haven't even had my coffee this morning. I'm all out of whack.
You haven't had it. Well, we're rolling the dice today, aren't we? No, at least you've prepped yourself another way, so that's fine.
That's it.
Before you get into the intro, though, we have a question from Almighty Hexkin. When liquid loans SAC numbers on testnet?
Look, happy to spend some time on this as we go through the stream today. But I guess I can say, and you're not going to like the answer, very soon. But there's a lot of
2 more weeks.
2 more weeks. Yeah. And I wish I could say, look, it's due this date. But what people need to understand is it's not just about launching the core protocol. Like that's all those contracts are up and running on testnet already. What the team's busy doing in the background is building the DApp, and we've not only have we built it once, we've gone back and we're rebuilding it again, because what we want to deliver, we want it to be top notch. So when the thing gets to testnet, it's been through many iterations, and where a lot of internal testing. So we want to bring the best experience we can to the community. We think they deserve that. We don't want to just belt something out and get it in front of the community. And although that gives everyone it gives them something to play with in the meantime, it's not the way we want to deliver the product. We want to deliver high-end finished product.
So it sounds like once you do get to testnet, you've had a lot of time to work out a lot of but you don't expect there to be a big change from testnet to mainnet?
I wouldn't say the purpose of being on testnet is to find any bugs or quirks. But when we get it to testnet, it will have gone through a lot of internal testing. So that's not to say that when it gets to testnet, it's going to be perfect. We don't think that's going to be the case by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, it's just deliver the best thing we can, put it up there for everyone to use, and encourage people to actually use it on testnet. Find any quirks if there's a UI or a UX thing that they think needs tweaking. That's what that environment's for. Nice. Along with just the DApp, though, there's a lot of supporting infrastructure that needs to be built for PulseChain as well, and so our team is busy doing a lot of that stuff as well.
Well, you heard it here, folks. It's a work in progress, and it's going to be baller when it does come out. So just have that on your mind. Like every other, community project you SAC for, it's going to be amazing, isn't it?
Well, I play with the DApp on a daily basis, and it looks good. Like I like the look and feel of it. It's pleasing to the eye. It does everything it needs to do. So yeah, I think everyone will be happy when they see it.
Well, good thing, Richard is telling us about the delays and stuff, kind of pivoting attention away from the community projects, more on when PulseChain PulseChain.
Definitely, man. We've been the beneficiary of that time delay. It means that we can take more time and fine tune things and make them better. Obviously, as soon as Pulse launches, everyone's going to be wanting to see everything live on mainnet. So we're grateful that we've had this extra opportunity to refine things.
I've said before a million times on the show, like I don't care when any of this stuff launches. Like whatever, I'm not over
Yeah,
leveraged. I'm in a fortunate position of like I'm good. I know when it comes out, it's going to be great, and then we're going to celebrate. But delayed gratification, people. If you're in the Richard Hart community ecosystem, internalize that delayed gratification. Don't be mad. People give bad estimates or timelines. It's not coming out mid-May. None of that matters. When it comes out, and then save your judgment for when it comes out, not before you even see anything. So
and I think what people realize is, don't realize, is when they first come into crypto, they're all about short-term pumps and things like that. And I do think that's changed over this last cycle. Like there's still all the degenerate trading and leveraging that we've just seen play out. But I think the space as a whole is getting a little bit more mature, and people are saying, okay, we're not worried about the next 3 or 6 months. We're looking 5-10 years ahead and where this will be. And I think anyone that gets into this space needs to have that same attitude in terms of length of time they're looking at this as an investment. If they're coming into this just for the tech, great. But most people are coming here for some mad gains. Mad gains happen over a number of cycles. So you've got to come in with that mindset, and you'll do really well.
I wouldn't come in the Richard ecosystem to day trade. It's not the place for that. That's at least 18 months. You said 5 to 10 years. At least give yourself 18 months, 2 years, just like relax, learn, enjoy. Don't have bear market blues. It's not worth it. Go live your life. Whatever you did, it's already done. You can think about your decisions. You can try to get better from that, but like you can't hurry anything. Nothing's people swarming the teams and Richard and stuff and saying, when's this stuff going to be due? That doesn't really have much effect. So anyway, before we go much further, who is Jexxa? Like, how did you get into crypto? How did you come up with your name? Like, what is how did you find Richard Hart? All this good stuff.
Yes. I guess the origin story is, prior to crypto, I'd done a lot of property investing. So I still do property development. So I used to run a monthly group where we'd all get together, and it was just purely about educating people about what was going on in the local property market. And one of those events we have each year was just like a Christmas party where we just all let our hair down and have a few drinks and relax. So we're doing that one night, and there was a couple of guys just having a chat about this thing called Ethereum, and I was just sort of listening in the background, and I'd obviously heard of Bitcoin. They were talking about this thing called Ethereum, and I was like, this seems a little bit interesting. I don't really understand a great deal about it, but let's jump in and have a look. But yeah, once again, Bitcoin was the thing that I went and purchased first. But coming from an IT background as well, so prior to property, I had a career in IT. I was the tech side of it, and I'm not saying I understood all the tech side, but I was fascinated by the tech side clicked easily for me. So I wasn't scared of the technical aspect of it. So that enabled me to sort of dive really deep into understanding wallets and the tech around it and the blockchain side of things, and had a pretty good conceptual point of view from that point of view. But really, the main reason I got in was investment. It was
mad gains.
Yeah. So I went to have a look at it for mad gains, seen the tech, and went, "Oh, this is pretty interesting." And then that sort of sent me down a journey of. I was fortunate; I had a lot of time on my hands at that particular point in my life. So it was like 10-hour, 12-hour days, just getting really absorbed into all of this sort of stuff. Just went really, really deep into it because I was just fascinated by it. Got a lot of things wrong. Got a hell of a lot of things wrong getting into it.
That's how you learn.
Yeah, but I guess the thing that hooked me was I was lucky enough. Bitcoin, I think I'll get the numbers wrong here, but it was at a top of about 3,800, and it crashed down. And that's when I sort of brought all my funds into the space initially, and then it rallied back up, and I was like, "Oh, cool, this is easy." Yeah, this is easy, man. Like, how easy is this game? So false sense of security when you do that. You've got to learn.
Unless you sold it all at 5K.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, so it was a bit of a false sense of security, but it gave me, I guess, enough of a taste to say, shit, there's money that can be made here, and the tech's pretty cool. I didn't fully appreciate what the whole movement was in terms of the crypto space, which I understand a little bit more now, and has got me to a whole different level of the way I look at the space now as well. But yeah, that was my sort of initial foray into it, and it wasn't until I'd gone on and lost all the profits that I should have taken that I come across Richard Hart's videos, and probably a little bit too late when I first discovered his videos. It would have been nice to see those a little bit sooner. But I heard that he was doing this thing called Bitcoin HEX, and just followed the journey of that. Not more or less just really lurking in the Telegram chat. Didn't feel I had any value to sort of add there at that point. I was just lurking along and would come back and check in every few months or so and say, okay, oh yeah, still saying it's going to be 4 weeks. So I just come back in.
Yeah. I mean, at least he did really good live streams back then. He would spend hours talking about different things about HEX. And I lurked for like almost 5 years too, until I literally just started streaming and started being public in the community maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And I remember those live streams were just 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of just going through all the intricacies with HEX. But every time it would be like, oh, it's soon, a few more weeks or something. I mean, now it seems like a distant memory. Maybe that's why I'm so chill with PulseChain launch, where I'm just like, he doesn't give good time estimates. Like, I guess people don't understand that, but I went through with HEX too.
Yeah. So we're past a year now. Is that correct? Since the sacrifice would be.
I saw some tweet about 1 year mark from Deep Stakes from what's his name? Oh man, what's his name? I gotta have him on the show too. He's really good. Silvertooth, that guy.
Yep.
I think he said it. So are we? I guess we are. I guess it is July. So that I remember last summer I was the sacrifice.
So time, it goes by so quickly, and actually that's good to circle back on that with the HEX thing, because people, and I see this all the time, everyone, they look across at the people that are in HEX and go, I can't believe they're locking their funds up for 5 years or 10 years. But man, that time just goes so fast. You don't realize it. A lot of the stakes that I set way back in the beginning, I had a big ladder out, and at the time when I'd done them, like 2 or 3 years felt like an eternity, but it's just gone so fast. So yeah, the time's going to pass no matter what you do, people. So take advantage of it.
Okay, apparently there's a correction. July 14th would be 1 year.
Okay, so next week.
Maybe Silvertooth was talking about like the announcement, or like the first day. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dates there, but don't quote me on the Silvertooth thing. I just feel like he's the one I saw that did it. So, but how'd you find? So you found Rich because you heard of Bitcoin HEX. That was the story.
Yeah. I don't even know how I come across that. I honestly don't. I must have just watched a stream, or I can't remember at what point when I started watching Richard's streams, whether it was before I heard about that or not. It's a bit blurry. It was a long time ago now. Yeah. Glad I did though. We
are all glad of that. Yeah. He changed my life in a lot of ways. I was gonna say I was on with Matt from Liquid Loans yesterday, and if y'all haven't seen that stream, I think it turned out pretty good. I think if you want to learn more about like what I'm about, health, wealth, wisdom, like my journey and stuff like that, go to Liquid Loans channel and click on the RHMax interview if you want to know more about me. But in that interview, I talked about how there's something I didn't even realize. Like, he literally got me down this path of, wow, I need to, like, first of all, I realized you can get rich with crypto, and you can do it without buying a scam and pumping it up and all this. You don't need to do any of that stuff. You can do it in an ethical way. You can buy a good product. And then, reading his books and stuff like that, he really motivated me to get on a journey to be smarter, be wiser, be healthier, like do these things that are going to let me enjoy the wealth and not lose it. Most importantly, that would be like one of the worst things I could think of, is like getting rich and then just losing it, being like a lottery. I don't want to be a lottery winner. I'm not interested in that. So that was another thing I hadn't even thought about till that interview. Like, so many of the good things, so many things I'm thankful for in my life, as far as like personal development wise and getting better and all these things myself, working on internally. He really pushed me to go in the right direction on that, and that's something I didn't even think about till we got an interview yesterday. So hidden fundamentals I hadn't even thought about before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's like you said, there's the I guess personal growth side of things, and then there's also the technical side of things as well. Where I mean, I thought coming from an IT background, I had pretty good security practices. In the way I'd set up my environment. And like I said, I understood the tech well enough, but I was still doing dumb things like leaving way too much on exchanges and things like that. And without a word of a lie, when HEX launched, it was the reason why I grabbed everything, all my Bitcoin, like it made me go through and do a full sweep of just get all my Bitcoin off onto wallets so then I could free claim. And then that was a cascading effect where I went, okay, now that I'm in this mindset of, okay, you just don't leave things on exchange. You rip it all off, you put it onto your...
Could you explain that too, just for people to understand? We've heard a million times, don't put your coins on exchanges, but like, why? What are the different things about that?
Yeah. So, and look, what we've seen play out this cycle is a clear indication of why you should not leave your coins on exchanges. The main reason why you wouldn't initially was there was a lot of hacks going on. So an exchange would get hacked and it'd be like a big honeypot. So anyone that wanted to launch an attack, they're going to go for this big pot of money. That's a big incentive for them to work hard and try and crack this pot open. And possibly some of that was inside jobs as well. You just never know. So it was more about protecting from hacks. But this time around, completely different story. This time around, exchanges or trusted entities. So we've just seen Voyager, Celsius. That was a slightly different thing, not so much an exchange, but Voyager was an exchange.
Custodians, guys, I guess.
Yeah, they're custodians, and they have inappropriately used the deposits of their users. So they've gone and lent them out to the likes of Three Arrows Capital to get some sort of return off of that lending those assets to pay yields to people that are on their platforms and do other things like that. and so you get an issue, and sorry, I've got a dog going mad in the background if you can hear that.
No worries.
Yeah, so you get this issue in the space this time where we had this contagion effect where something failed, Terra Luna failed, and then it's gone across the whole sector. So a lot of these custodians that have been mishandling these funds are just wiped out. So you shouldn't be leaving your funds on an exchange for the hacking reason, or you don't know what the hell they're doing with your funds when they're on there. You see the balance where it says, I've got 5 Bitcoin on this exchange, but you haven't got 5 Bitcoin. You've got an internal database that says you've got 5 Bitcoin. What the hell they're doing with your Bitcoin, you don't know. So yeah, that's the main reason why you don't want things left on a custodial service, especially when they don't have a guarantee that they're keeping your funds separate from anything else they're doing.
It almost sounds like you're talking about a bank that's not FDIC insured, for example. It almost sounds like
exactly that. Yeah. And if you go down that path, even that as well, though, the FDIC insurance only covers a certain amount. So if you've got more than that, I think they did change that recently. I think over our way it's 250 or something like that.
Okay. Keeping up with inflation.
all different rules around the world, but it's not full protection, and that was the reason why we got into crypto, was to be able to be self-sovereign and look after our own funds and not have them be in the control of someone else. So that was I always knew that, and that's what attracted me to the space, but it wasn't until HEX came along where I went, okay, now I've got a reason to actually drag all this stuff off. And so that's what I went and done. So
what would you say to people who, the first response, if you tell that to people, often, Well, but how do I get it in and out? How do I get it into fiat? How do I buy it and sell it if it's not on an exchange? What would what would be your response to them? It's just use a DEX, or is it just? I mean,
no, it's look. There's we're pretty lucky in HEX. It's a double-edged sword. Like we're lucky because we can trade purely on chain with the likes of Uniswap and various DEXs, and we're also fortunate that we've got stable coins that we can use as that safe haven. Make sure you're choosing the right stable coins, and I'm happy to go into that later on. But yeah, we've got the ability to be able to trade on chain and have that store where we can escape the volatility if we need to, which typically before the DEXs and the stable coins were popular, you had to do on exchange. So that was the main reason you would use an exchange back then. Now, the use of exchanges for me, anyway, is purely as a ramp if I'm bringing in fiat or taking out fiat. So what would I say to everyone is it needs to be part of your process that let's go through the whole steps of bringing funds in. You send money from your bank to the exchange. You trade that into whatever you want, whatever crypto you want. And part of your process should be move it from the exchange to your wallet. Your transaction's not complete until you do that full route and it ends up in your wallet. So if you don't get lazy, don't leave it sitting on exchange. Get it off straight away. The fees for sending it off are not. It's a small price to pay to know that your funds are safe, assuming you've set up your own environment correctly.
Yeah, and if you're staking HEX, then you're trusting an audited smart contract, so that cuts out a lot of the middleman. It cuts out a lot of the risk of leaving it somewhere where you don't have access. They are not your keys, not your coins.
So we in this space, and it doesn't matter whether you're in crypto or TradFi, you accept a certain amount of risk. Nothing is risk-free. You've got to, but in this space, you get to choose where you put your risk. And for me, putting it in a smart contract that has been running flawlessly for a couple of years now, that's not a bad place to leave it, as opposed to centralized exchanges where the rules are subject to change at their whim.
I think we're using the phrase 1,000 days now. I think I saw that recently.
What was
running
that?
strong for 1,000 days.
1,000 days, yeah, we just ticked over there, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we got the first pull joke coming in here. I assume that's a meta pull joke, Jerry, or you're just making a carpool lane joke about Mexicans. Maybe I read too much into that. I'm not sure. Thomas Turner's joining fun. So that's what I want to ask too. So on liquid loans, let's talk about that. People probably want to hear about that. Why is liquid loans the right stable coin to use? Like why is it the one that you're going to be able to trust much more than the ones that are failing out there, as we've seen?
Okay, this is a little bit to unpack here. So I'm going to jump around a little bit, and then we'll hopefully arrive on a good outcome. So there are good stable coins. There are bad stable coins. They can't all be lumped into the same basket. The term algorithmic stable coin is a little bit overused or misused now. So a pure algorithmic stablecoin such as Luna, which was a balance between the Luna and the UST, and was relying purely on algorithmic code to keep that balanced and wasn't fully collateralized, that was a pretty risky stablecoin. And we've all seen the fallout for that. Easy to say in hindsight. Had a lot of people promoting it, and I think it got up to, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 billion in TVL in that particular coin. So it wasn't a small project.
Yeah.
And so the risk on that one was you were trusting code. Now, there was a little bit more to it than that because there was some centralized type components going on in the background with the yield and things like that, which Tokenomics was able to mess with.
I like to imagine that there's just a bunch of people running back and forth, turning levers and stuff, and just hoping, oh, please, nobody's buy or sell too much right now.
Yeah. So it was a bit like that. So it was the system wasn't governance free or immutable. Okay, so there was people still doing things in the background to that.
With all due respect to that project, because there were a lot of people. I know it's not popular to be like to give, failing people projects that failed and lost a lot of money and credit and stuff. But there's a lot of people that work there. I'm sure they thought they were doing the right thing, and
for sure.
All that stuff. We're just saying, hey, the experiment didn't turn out so well as we can see.
Yeah, definitely. And there's been a number of these different algorithmic coin experiments not go so well. Yeah. And some of them, it may just be a time thing as well, where they've got to stabilize and all that, but you've got to pay a pretty hefty price in the meantime for that. Yeah. Okay, so that's pure algorithmic stablecoins. Then we've got the collateral-backed stablecoins, and that's your USDC, USDT, although everyone knows that's in question how much they've got backed. True USD. And so out of those three that I just mentioned there, True USD and USDC are probably the ones we can look across and say, okay, these ones seem to have the collateral backing to represent the issued tokens. Yeah. Now, how liquid all that backing is, it depends where they've got the funds sitting, whether they're in treasuries or cash. But there's regular audits to say this is all backed. Great, that's really good. The actual token is backed by the collateral. Perfect. However, you've got this person in the middle, a company in Circle, who control all the levers and have T's and C's on what they can do and how they can change things, and they can switch it off at any time. They can block your coins. There's just so many things they can do. So you're assuming a different level of risk. Then you're moving from the purely algorithmic to, okay, collateralized, but with a central party controlling it. Then we go one evolution further, and this is why I really like liquid loans, and why the first time I read the white paper and looked at it, and I use this term, I said it just looks beautiful the way it was designed. And so what I mean by that is you've got a system that removes the middlemen, so there's no governance in the system. There's no admin keys. So you've taken that part of the system, that part of the risk out of the equation. However, you've got this fully collateralized, in fact, it's over collateralized stablecoin, because there is always more value in the pulse than to back up the actual token that's sitting there. So you can always redeem your stablecoin for $1 worth of pulse. Now, the price of pulse will fluctuate for sure, but you can always go and redeem that stablecoin $1 worth of pulse. So it's not there is computer code that allows you to redeem and mint the coins, but it's not algorithmic in that it's sort of algorithmically balancing it. It's more it depends how you define algorithmic. It's more software that is setting the rules, so that the algorithm doesn't define the value of the coin. Right. The market defines the value of the coin. Okay, and if you can always redeem it for that $1 worth of pulse, there's a fair chance it can hold its peg. Now, there's a few other things that go into making that peg stable, but that's the gamut of stablecoins. So once again, you've got to choose where you park your risk across that gamut of stablecoins. For me, I'm looking into the future and going, I want a world where I could be self-sovereign with an asset that allows me to generate wealth. Give a tick to HEX. That's a good savings tool. But I recognize that can be a volatile asset. Hopefully it smooths out over time and you get a nice consistent yield with with less volatility over time. But hey, volatility brings good gains. So that's a savings account, and then you have something like liquid loans where you've got that stabilizing factor where if I do want to escape volatility, I can put funds into a stablecoin. And there's a whole raft of yield opportunities that come along with that as well. So to me, it is like the other two building blocks of, okay, this is how I can be self-sovereign and have the tools I need to be able to associate my risk with where I want to without having middlemen in the picture. Liquid loans also does the lending side of things, so I can extract value out of Pulse, which we can go into more detail on that as well. So it's all the DeFi tools that I think that I would personally want to be able to make the most of this space and have that control over my funds.
Yeah, it really does feel like one-stop shop as far as being on Pulse. There's a lot of people who stack for Pulse who will probably want to use the lending. They'll want to use the stablecoin aspect, it just seems like the place where Pulse again, and hopefully new people we attract from other chains as well will be able to come here and be like, okay, this network has all these amazing dApps and stuff on it, liquid ones including. This seems like a place where my money is going to be treated right. As Gunther likes to say, you take your money where it's going to be treated the best. PulseChain, especially with liquid loans on it, seems like a pretty good place.
So the term I used, I think PulseChain is going to be a DeFi mecca, and I say that because the projects that are getting launched on here, they've come through that stream of, okay, HEX was built like this for a reason. It had the no admin keys. It was designed so that the code wasn't going to change, and everyone knew what the rules were. So everyone that's from the HEX community that has started fanning out to bring all these other projects to the chain, they've got that same ethos where they're building in the building systems in such a way so that admin keys are not there, and unless they absolutely have to, and in some cases you do need those things with the likes of bridges, but in by and large, all building off that same ethos of get rid of middlemen, get rid of admin keys, let the code do the work.
No middleman D, as Richard may put it.
That's the way. Yep. And if you end up, and like you say, if people come across and they see that this is what this environment is, and they get a taste of one piece of it, and then they go, oh, okay, so liquid loans is doing this, and HEX, what's this thing HEX? Oh, that's a savings account. So not everyone will come from the HEX community. People will come across for all manner of reasons. You've just mentioned the Pulse Doge coin. People
the Pulse Doge founder.
Yeah.
He's not really a founder, but he's definitely the spokesperson.
Yeah.
A giant whale, I'm pretty sure, if I were to speculate.
So some people that love meme coins will come across for that and then go, there's all this other stuff over here as well. So
that's the killer feature of PulseChain. That's why I think it's so important. It creates an ecosystem of shiny objects where people come over. Oh my gosh, this is this. You don't need to go out. You don't need to go buy Neo or Cardano, all these other coins. You've got all this cool stuff within the same ecosystem, and it keeps people in and keeps people buying. Well, I would say, I'm not saying there will never be a scam in the PulseChain community. I'm sure there will be. That's a natural thing. It happens. There's all kinds of stuff going out there, but at least you'll be in a community where a lot of the stuff, the community people are tight. There's a lot of stuff that will not be scams at all, and will be to your, probably to your benefit if you stay in it long enough. So that's what I think is just blows the Richard Heart ecosystem away, if you will, is PulseChain keeping everyone inside.
And I think, so you're right. If you can build that ecosystem where the value keeps accruing within Cider and it folds back on itself, there's all positive feedback loops, which there will be. I've already speaking about my videos before. I've got one video where I talk about positive feedback loops within PulseChain, where we're using Pulse, PulseX, liquid loans, HEX, and they all feed back in on each other. So if you can keep that, it's like this big snowball that'll just keep building, and more economic mass will come in and people can grow their wealth. That to me that's that DeFi mecca, where if you can get the value in the system and people realize what can be done here, they won't want to leave. It's a
DeFi
good place to play.
I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, sorry, you go. I was just going to say, like you're right. There may be some scams that come along, so people need to be vigilant. And there may be things that a project gets launched, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't work out quite the way it was supposed to. It wasn't a scam, but hey, it just wasn't as successful as what it should have been for whatever reason. So that's going to happen as well. That's part of launching all new things. So I think just because something launches on PulseChain, you've still got to have your BS radar up and be looking at these things with a critical eye. Definitely.
I'm going to talk chat for the kill me real quick. Almighty Hex, and I'm sorry I took like 30 minutes to get this question, but they say if we delayed our SAC for liquid loans the whole 24 months. I remember the delay. It's been a while since the SAC phase happened, but I remember there was a delay in the SAC phase for liquid loans.
Correct.
We'll be able to see our coins in our wallet, just able to use them 24 it's up. Yeah, what do you get on that, Jaxa?
Yeah. So it's a good question, and it sort of ties back to why haven't all the SAC amounts been released and everything at the moment? And that delay feature that we was part of the sacrifice that threw us a few curveballs with things we had to get in place from calculation points of view and for being able to get this out to people. So yeah, that small nuance turned out to be quite an interesting and time-consuming thing we had to deal with. But hey, it's all good, and we've worked through that. So the short answer to this question is you won't see the coins in your wallet, and the reason you won't is, and I'll preface this by saying everything's still subject to change, but the reason why you won't see them in your wallet at the moment is they'll be in a contract. But you will be the beneficiary of that contract. So no one else will be the beneficiary of that contract. So you'll be able to think of it like it's not the right terminology. I was going to say think of it like a Gnosis safe sort of thing, but it's actually think of it like the HEX contract. So you can see how many T shares you've got, or you can see in this case how many tokens you've got, but you can't unlock them until the time ticks over.
It's a good way to think about it. No, good answer. David Feeder, always a pleasure to have on the show as well. Hopefully he'll come back. He'll answer my DM. Just kidding. And come back on the show later on too. Truly hope Liquid is able to make their own oracles. Chainlink officially supports PulseChain. Is that the last piece of technical puzzle?
Wouldn't say it's the last piece, but it's one of the pieces, and it's not only something that Liquid Loans requires. It's something that I think a lot of projects will make use of on PulseChain. We are not making our own oracle. I don't think that's. Let me preface this once again by saying everything's subject to change, but at this present point in time, we're not making our own oracle, but we are working with someone that may come across. I don't want to say too much more on that, but there's definitely in its advanced stages of getting put together.
No expectations.
No expectations, but we're all over that.
No liquid expectations. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking at the chat for a second here too. If anything, some wine jokes. No more pool jokes. Come on, I got a pool as a background. It looks like one at least. Come on. Swimming. No, nobody. Here's a question from Jerry, a very serious one. Will Pulse 10,000X?
Well, Ethereum's done it. Who else? I think given enough time, if you've got the right product market fit, everything has that potential. We're starting off at a zero essentially. So there's a fair chance that they can do those sorts of numbers. Now, will it do it in 6 months, 2 years, 5 years? I've got no idea on that.
Are you just here for the mad gains, Jerry? Aren't you here for the technology? I'm here for the technology. Seriously, nothing gets people here for the technology. There is a lot of cool technology here as well. But hey, if you can have both mad gains and technology, why not have both?
Yeah, and that's what I really love about this space is we get to do cool things, and so there's a good chance you can make some good money doing it as well. But for me, it's a mixture of both. The tech's really cool. I like the the ethos of being in control of my own money, especially what's played out over the last couple of years. That's even more important to me now. But let's face it, we all come here for the mad gains. I think anyone that
it is motivation. I will say that motivation,
Yeah,
and that's what you got to use it
motivation.
as. It doesn't have to be like, oh, we're these greedy wannabe rich people, blah blah blah. It's not like, I mean, money is a means to an end. Money, for me at least, means financial freedom. I don't want anyone to tell me what time to get out of bed. I want to tell me when I want to get out. I want to be motivated to go create, work on my own stuff, and not have to answer to anyone, you know, in my life generally. So that's what it's not about, like swimming in a pool of $1 billion or drive. I mean, I don't know. You can drive Lambos. It sounds cool too, but that's not even on my mind. Lambos aren't even on my mind. My mind is, hey, I want to work for myself the rest of my life. And how do I do that? Crypto seems to be knocking on the door. And what's the best community to do that in crypto? Of course, anything Richard Hart makes, it seems, if you look at the history, for price to go up.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's and this is my big driver. It's about freedom. Being able to be in control of your destiny and not have to answer to anyone.
Sorry, I was just reading. I know Jerry. So first of all, Jerry, I want to compliment you. He's right now texting in a carpool lane on I-5 South. But I didn't. So I gave you credit. I didn't think there was a typo. I thought you were literally abbreviating 10,000x by T00x, and I was like, that's actually a cool way of saying 10,000x in a way. Although I think you're missing one zero, but still, it's a pretty cool way of saying it. But then I get clarification. He's indeed texting. Jerry, please be safe. I don't want to hear about you.
Have you doing hands-free texting?
Yeah, you need to maybe Tesla can read it to you. They have an AI or something. David also says, thanks for clarifying oracles. You are the man. I agree. Texas killing it. All right, chat. We're going to ignore you for a minute because we got some stuff to talk about. It's more liquid ones, though. It's good stuff. I think chat will like it. So that's the question I was thinking of too, as far as fundamentals go. Just give us and I know you know these answers. I don't know how you're going to have to compress it or break it down or decompress it in a way too. But like, what are the major fundamentals for the different tokens within liquid loans?
Yeah, so I guess the first thing I would have as a takeaway is there's plenty of yield production opportunities within the protocol itself. So just by using the protocol, it opens you up to yield potential, and I think it's pretty safe yield opportunity. So if you go and buy the loan token, so let's just say you don't participate in any of the lending or anything, you just go and buy on the market, you go buy some loan token, or you've gone into a sacrifice and someone gives you an airdrop of some loan token. You could go park that in the loan staking. There's no risk of losing that loan token. There's no risk of dropping your token count, but it will get a yield paid in USDL and Pulse. And where does that yield come from? It comes from the fees of the system being used by other people. So whenever they take a loan or a redemption, those fees go to that holder. So that's a pretty low risk yield opportunity. You're not exposed to impermanent loss in DEX pools or anything like that. Pretty simple.
I'm going to throw a banger in here real quick. So what you said, I know it has nothing to do with Celsius, but I remember after Celsius failed, reading that they were basically paying the last week's revenue and stuff. It was like 80-20 or whatever. They're paying it to the stakers, right? And when you said it depends on how much people are using the system, I just want to ask too, what if there's not a lot of people using the system? Like what is there any risk? How does that affect liquid loans if not a lot of people are using it, for example, worst case?
Yeah, look, let's face it, adoption is key for anything. So if people aren't depositing funds and minting USDL, then there's no fees generated in the system. So that's why you need to look at the system as a whole and all the different feedback loops. I guess what I was trying to do is just keep it simple and break down the various components, and then we'll go back and we'll tie it all together, and you'll see how how
Okay.
feedback loops.
Yeah. Again, not conflating the two whatsoever.
Yeah.
Celsius, not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm just curious, like that made me think for a second. I'm very interested to see if adoption is slow at first and things like that, how that plays into the system and how the feedback loop works. So yeah. Sorry.
All right. So let's step through that then. So I said, I'm actually going from the very final component and working my way back through to the beginning, which is, we'll see if that experiment works this time or not. But I just wanted to try and keep it simple. Okay, sure. So we understand now how staking the loan token works and how you can get a yield from that. Well, how do you get the loan token in the first place? So you can either buy it on market, like I just mentioned. You may have sacrificed and you may get an airdrop, or you can deposit stablecoin into the stability pool. What does that do? If you've got funds deposited in the stability pool, and that's only the stablecoin. So once again, you could go buy the stablecoin from a DEX, get $500 worth of USDL and put it into the stability pool. What do you get for that? Well, you get a drip feed of loan token coming to you. And this is not an incentive token with no value, because that loan token I just told you, you can go put into the staking pool and actually generate a yield. So that's
an important piece.
Yeah, it's an important piece. So it will have, it's yield generating for your USDL because you're getting given this token that hopefully has a lot of value about it. But then you can take that very token you're given and go earn more yield on it. What does the stability pool actually do? If you put funds into the stability pool, yes, you get that loan token given to you, but it's also providing an important service for the protocol, which is underpinning the situation where someone leaves their vault in a risky state and it needs to be liquidated. So let's just say someone takes out a loan and they do it at an unsafe level, neglect it, don't ever look after it, and the system has to close that out to stay solvent. So what it does is it takes some funds from the stability pool, pays out the debt on that vault, and releases the collateral back to the stability pool providers. So if you're in the stability pool, you actually get discounted pulse. Okay, so if someone's misusing the system, you'll get discounted pulse, plus you'll get the yield of the loan token. So they're both pretty risk-free ways to earn yield within the system. Now the true magic in the system is obviously the lending and the minting of the USDL. So bringing the stablecoin into existence. And so how does that work? You let's say you hold some pulse, it goes up in value, and you go, you know what? I'd like to take a little bit of value out of the pulse. You don't have to sell it on market. You can put it into a vault, take a loan of your choosing, however much you want to take out. Be as conservative or as risky as you like, depending on what your game plan is. There's game theory in that saying, I want to take it at the most possible risk, and it acts as a stop loss. So if you want to hear more about that, Jesse's done numerous streams on how you can use it as a stop loss.
Well, stop loss, and just what comes to mind, if people are okay defaulting on it, wouldn't they take a lower collateral position if they plan on defaulting on it, for example?
Exactly. Yeah. So if you plan to default on it because that is part of your stop loss strategy, that's viable. So the system will get used for that, no doubt. But our hope is it gets used for a lot of different ranges, that being probably one of the minor ones. But hey, it is a good system if you're riding a pump up and you want to take a bit of profit out, but you're not sure whether the market's going to keep going. That's a pretty good option to do, because you can release the value, and if the market keeps going up, you can just keep extracting more value, and you haven't market sold your pulse. That's the important thing. Okay, so you've got the value out, and you haven't had to dump it on the DEX to extract that value. What's happened is the people that are providing in the stability pool, they'll pick up your pulse at a discount. Okay, but you've done really well anyway. You've exited, and the prices kept going up. So that's a very viable use for it. The other side of the equation is you've got pulse that you want to hold on to, and it's long-term pulse. It's gone up. So what did we say? Someone said it might go up 100x or 10,000x. Look, let's hope it does.
That's speculation.
Let's hope it does. And if it goes up to 10,000x, you can put pulse into the system and extract out at a very, very safe level USDL in value. So you can actually pull out dollar value without having to sell your Pulse down. So if you want to be a long-term holder, but you want to release some capital to do things, or live, or put it into something else, you can do that. You've got an option.
Okay.
All these things, you can give everyone the tools. They've got to be responsible in how they use them. Any tool can be misused. So I'll say that now if you go in and provide liquidity on crazy pairs, you'll get walloped with impermanent loss because you haven't understood how that tool works or used it correctly. So that looked really cool. Your pool thing actually came up on your.
I saw it. Yeah, yeah. I saw it a couple times. I'm like, this is nice, actually. I don't mind that kind of green screen.
Yeah. So like everything, understand what you're using. The same goes for HEX. If you go bang out a 10-year stake and then end it a year into it,
3 days later.
Yeah, and we see people do that because they just don't read the rules. They don't understand how it works. So this is just a tool like any other tool. Make sure you use it the right way.
So is it the pump metals as far as the appreciation? Is it a lot of positive feedback loops and adoption for the system, or what's going to make the token like loan and what's the other token? I'm not blanking on this.
Yeah, so you got obviously the Pulse is the collateral token that goes into the system. That's external, obviously, to the protocol. Then you've got USDL, which is the stablecoin.
USDL,
yeah, and then you've got loan, which is the yield generating token of the system. So any value that's captured in the system. So, like I said, Pulse runs up 100x, 10,000x. Happy days for everyone. They're now in a position where they can extract some value. If they put funds into the system and they're taking loans, that generates fees for the USDL holders. So they get given Pulse or USDL, depending on whether it's a loan or a redemption. What do they do with those funds that are generated out of there? Well, they can go buy more Pulse, they can go buy more HEX, so that feeds back around into the system. So that's one feedback loop there. You can do simple things where your Pulse. So if anyone's familiar with the haunted strategy, which has been doing the rounds a lot, I know everyone's seen that. If they've been in the Liquid Loans Telegram group, they've more than likely come across that. It's one pretty cool strategy. Obviously, needs to be used safely.
Tell us about that.
So the haunted strategy runs something like this. You put in some Pulse as collateral. You extract value out at a 1,000% collateral ratio. So what that means is you can withstand a market drop of about 90%. Okay. And people go, well, we've just seen the market drop 90%. Yeah, we have, but it's also taken 6 or 8 months to do that. So we rarely see markets drop bang down 90%. So you've got 6 or 8 months to deal with your position in there and shore it up. So it's we think that's a pretty safe collateral ratio to be doing this sort of strategy with. And that's one where you deposit some Pulse, and every time the value of your Pulse goes up 10%, you extract a little bit more value and you go buy more Pulse with it. So what does that do? Well, if people are doing that, then they're buying more Pulse on market, pushes the price of Pulse up, your collateral value is increasing. So that's a strategy that can be used not just to keep acquiring more Pulse, because that is, whilst we're doing it at 1,000% collateral, there is still some risk to that because every time you extract the value, you're putting it back into Pulse. So you've just got to be mindful that you are using the value you've extracted.
Yeah.
Now, how's another way that can be used? Okay, same. If you use the haunted concept, that can play out into a lot of other different things. So once again, you deposit your Pulse, you take out a collateral ratio of 1,000%, and this time instead of going buying more Pulse, you keep the USDL and you put it into the stability pool. So now you're earning yield, and if for whatever reason the price of Pulse does start to drop, you can grab out your USDL and pay back your loan. So you can offset the risk that way.
Is that a strategy you would use when you feel like we're at the top and we're about to go into bear market? Is that something you would use then, or when is the best time to use that haunted strategy?
Yeah, my belief is the haunted strategy is used in an uptrending market. That's the best way to use that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Obviously, but at 1,000% collateral, like it's, even if the market rolls over, you can start to wind back your position as well. Okay, so there's actions you can take. You can pay back your loans and things like that. Same thing works with HEX. So that same strategy applies, but instead of buying more Pulse or more USDL or more loan, you buy more HEX. So you then put your HEX away, and that's earning more yield. So there's all these different feedback loops in the way we can do it. Every time you extract funds and you go to PulseX and do a swap, you're actually injecting more value into the PulseX token, because that generates more fees, generates more buy and burn. So there's just all these different cool feedback loops that happen within the system. They're not isolated islands. They all are going to interlink and help grow the system as a whole, I think. So I keep going back to that DeFi. I keep going back to that DeFi Mecca thing. That's what I truly believe this is. We're getting given the tools that if we use them diligently, we can really move the dial on our wealth.
It certainly sounds like it. Like every time I talk to you all about liquid blend, there's just all this, it's just alpha mecca stuff going on, and very impressive. I know you all have a great team and just have people working on it that are just sharp in so many different directions and good at marketing. And Matt's doing a great job out there, killing it with the interviews and stuff. And it just seems like a very well-oiled machine. I'll say that.
What you don't see is the behind-the-scenes people.
Okay, can only imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're seeing is the likes of me, Jesse, Matt, Hodpool, and all those guys. They're all front and center in the community. They're all they're very present, and they're on Twitter and in the Telegrams. But behind the scenes, there's a lot of people
locked in the closet, just like Richard.
Yeah, there's all the dev, and it's not just devs. Like people don't understand the
organizational structure.
The organizational structure and the depth of the team that it takes to do this properly. Like the way it's being geared up is to scale this thing. So it's
I was impressed. I got an email. That's how I got on the liquid loans with Matt. I got an email from Hexacat. I'm like, oh, first of all, I didn't know Hexacat was in liquid loans. I was ignorant of that. And then you're sending an email like an organization would, like you contact. I mean, I'm sure you would have DM'd me too if we'd been following each other. But just when I saw it looked very professional. I was like, wow, this is not your normal community project. You all have an organization structure. It's pretty nice.
Yep.
I wanted to ask. I want to pivot a little bit too into security and go ahead. Let's lose half the people because I said those words. But I was looking up some of the stuff you did with HexSafe and Seed Vault and stuff like that. And I just wanted to, can you just elaborate on that kind of security for crypto and that side of things? Just go into it a little bit.
Yeah. Like I said, come from a tech background. So for me, and I was actually a security engineer. So for me, anything in IT was all about making sure it was done right. It was set up correctly. It was nice and secure. Firewalls, intrusion protection, all this sort of fancy stuff that they put into enterprise type networks.
Yeah.
So when I come across to the crypto space, the security bit gelled with me, and I was really hot on understanding how that worked. As soon as I got into the space, I went and got a hardware wallet and was all over all of that and just took that really seriously. Like I said, still left things on exchanges where I shouldn't have. Sometimes that was, sometimes that hindered me, sometimes it helped me. But for the most part, it was all about, just making sure that security environment was right. And then I got to I helped a lot of people come through, and part of one of my roles with another company was really just onboarding thousands of people. And these are guys that are ranged from in their 20s to their, I think our oldest client was pushing 80 or something. So they're a wide range of different type of people, and just needed to come up with a good system that would keep people safe. And the system I put together was, I don't think I've ever had anyone lose money if they've followed it correctly.
Mm.
So they've done it right, and and they've never, just the way it does things, it stops them making silly mistakes. So as part of that, there was tools that I wanted personally that didn't exist, or I thought they weren't easily accessible. So that's where I built the HEX Safe site in the very early days of HEX, was just to educate people on, okay, guys, great to get all these mad gains, but if you lose them, there's no point. So I've done a whole series of videos on HEX Safe, teaching people the very basics of wallets and going through to more advanced stuff like Shamir secrets and things like that for hardware wallets. And then I started looking more and more at my own security, because as the value of the things you hold goes up, you start going, "Ooh, I really need to start taking this seriously now."
Yeah.
So if there was a gap in what I needed, then I would come up with a system of way it would work. And with the seed vault plates, that was just, I wanted an easy way where I could just store all my seeds on a steel plate. So I had some of those manufactured, and they've gone out to a lot of hexagons. So I appreciate the support that people have given me on that front. So they've gone out around the world to various hexagons, and they've all they've been using that system to store their seed words. So like I said, great to get these mad gains, but if you don't know how to look after them, or you don't look after them properly, it's just gut wrenching. I've seen people lose everything they've had.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen that poor guy in HEX 19. The amount of money that guy lost was insane, and he took it like a champ, but that would have been absolutely gut wrenching to see that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was seeing it happen on a daily basis in the HEX security chat. Another person would come in, I've given away my seed words.
No, tap them in a website. Yeah.
Yeah.
So HEX Safe is like a regiment. It's like a process to basically secure your seed words.
HEX Safe for me, it was really just, so if you go to hexsafe.win, that's the website, and it just goes through, I broke it down into like 3 levels, I think, level 0, level 1, level 2. It just basically steps you through how to set up first of all, understanding what seed words are, how it interacts with MetaMask, like where are your coins actually stored. So because people don't understand that they don't actually store these things on a hardware wallet or in their wallet. We never actually store coins in our wallets, and I think people don't sort of get that. So
yeah, it just looks that way because it's a nice interface, but it's just information on the blockchain. There's no wallet really. It's just
that's right. Yeah. So and what I wanted to do was just help people conceptualize that, and then they can go, oh, maybe the penny drops, and they go, okay, all right, now I understand how this works and the importance of it, and they can start to build on that. So that was the whole reason behind HEX Safe, and to this day I keep doing more things on the security space, and what I'm finding I'm doing a lot more now is actually helping accountants and the like understand how to stuff this information in for their clients and things like that. So it's
very
cool.
Sort
of grown.
Quick. I forgot to answer a couple questions from Alan here on liquid loans. We'll hop back to security side, but I asked, do you have slides for various community strategies for liquid loans?
Oh, I'm sure they'd be in the Telegram group, probably pinned in there. I don't know if I have the latest set. I've got some from a while back, but if I can dig them out, I'll send a link over.
Okay. And then another one from Alan, recommendation for people who have smaller bags of Pulse. I have a friend that's about to get 15 million Pulse. Is it worthwhile for them to play with any liquid loan strategies?
I don't know how much 15 million Pulse is going to be worth. I've got no idea at this point in time. I would say not. And I'll give you two reasons why. First of all, you need to have a minimum. If you want to deposit in and take a loan, you need to set up a minimum loan amount of 2,000 USDL. And if you want to do it at a safe collateral level, it means you need a lot more value in your Pulse than that minimum to do it safely. So I would suggest they don't go taking loans at that level until that Pulse has grown and you can see the value of it. However, like I said, there are risk-free, or not, I shouldn't say that. There are lower risk ways to be able to play in the liquid loans protocol, and that was the staking strategies.
Right. So maybe not taking a loan, but you could stake your Pulse, or you would get the loan and stake that with it.
Yeah. So that would be holding some loan or
right.
some USDL. Yeah. But yeah, from a lending point of view, I'd have to wait and see how much. Maybe not initially with 15 million. But hey, who knows? I just don't know what it's going to be worth. But yeah.
Random question that I just thought too. What if USDC's peg just utterly failed? Like, what would
USDCs?
USDC? Yeah, not USDL, but USDC. What if it just failed? Coinbase just like died as a company. What would the price of Bitcoin be? It's just
at this point, USDC is throughout the whole of DeFi, and that's that same the contagion thing we've seen with Terra. You had that sort of cascade effect where something went down and it had an impact on other things, and in probably more to the point, it had an impact on a lot of centralized places who had exposure to that particular asset. But USDC is throughout the whole DeFi now.
Everywhere, everyone trusts it too, right? I mean,
everyone trusts it.
So, I mean, it's got a good reputation. As we talked about before.
Yeah. So understand that is a risk in this space. Is you've got these assets that are moving through the ecosystem, and they're all becoming dependent upon each other. So you should never want to see anything fail. It's just not good for the space. And that's the same in TradFi as well. If you see something tank there, one of the fundamental pieces of that infrastructure, or look, gold, we seen the other day, I think it was Uganda just announced that they've found a whole heap of extra gold. So that has an impact on the price of gold, which has an impact on other things. So it flows through the system. So in these hyper-connected ecosystems, you don't want to see things fail. It's not great. If they're small isolated projects, not a big issue. But if they're pervasive through the whole of
the premier stablecoin of Ethereum.
Yeah.
And so Bitcoin's price, and then I mean, I imagine like if that happened, even during this bear market, that's got to be cataclysmic. That word.
Cataclysmic. Yep.
Cataclysmic. There you go.
Yeah.
For crypto in general and Ethereum too, of just like, wouldn't a lot of trust be lost in Ethereum at that point?
Yeah.
And can't even have a good stable coin.
Man, I tell you what, so off the back of, and I think people I've got to assume that they're fudding this for their own benefit. So we had the Terra Luna collapse. Stablecoin, algorithmic stablecoin, affect a lot of centralized places. So we've seen everyone come out on the attack, and rightfully so. They came out and attacked Celsius and called them out. Then Voyager and BlockFi, a few others all got called out. Now, very appropriate to call them out because they were misusing the users' funds. But it also has a self-fulfilling prophecy that if you tell everyone to take all their funds out of a protocol, or a centralized system, it just collapses the system. and so it worsens the effect. So then what we've seen is people coming out and flooding USDC, and so there's a couple of threads where they sort of talk about how USDC was going to fail and all that kind of stuff. And I without going into too much detail, I think it was all just FUD and it was inaccurate. Then yesterday, another one, Tether's going to fail. So I don't know why people are either they know something and they're trying to whistleblow, but in this case, they didn't have the facts and they're FUDing. And it's not, I don't know whether it's intentional that they're doing that, but it's a dangerous game to play when you don't have all the facts. If you know the facts, sure thing. But if you're speculating, that's a dangerous game to play.
Is that something that? Yeah, is that something that? I'm trying to think of angles like why people would be flooding stable coins. Is it to try to push legislation in a way?
So that there could be a bit of that. So people trying to push legislation. What's that old saying? Never let a good opportunity go to waste. So
never let a crisis go to waste.
So that's the one. Never let a crisis go to waste. So there's a bit of that. Could people be looking for lower entries in the market? Who knows? Trying to FUD the market to get lower entries, possibly.
And liquid loans, is it safe from regulation for the most part, you think? I know it's all say something around that.
So that's what I really like about it, is I believe it is. Now, you can say that, but the rules can spin on a dime. The reason why at the moment I believe it's safe is it doesn't touch anything in TradFi. So we're not dealing with traditional US dollars. As soon as you deal with US dollars, you've got an issue then, because that's squarely in the remit of TradFi and the regulators. And if you just
what is TradFi for people who are not familiar?
Traditional finance. Or legacy finance. Yep. So legacy finance. So as soon as you've got one leg of your business in that world, you've got to play by their rules. And that means monitoring all what they call it, the travel rule. So where money's flowing. In Australia, we have something called AUSTRAC, where any transaction above $10,000 got to get reported. And I'm sure that's like that across the world. So any movement of funds needs to get reported. If you're essentially a derivative of that underlying asset as well. So then you start falling into a whole raft of other
Libertarian enemy is on fire right now.
Yeah. I think we come from the same place.
Calm down.
It boils my blood to see things like that. So for me, and look, Terra Luna to me was if that had have worked, man, that was awesome, because they were building payment rails and weren't holding USD as the underlying asset. So if that had have worked, if it had gone a completely different way, that was a game changer. But obviously wasn't set up in the right fashion. My hopes for something like USDL and other protocols similar to it, if we can have these stable coins that are not underpinned by a highly regulated asset, then that means we don't have to play in that regulation field there. We don't have one leg in that side of the business.
That does sound like a game changer. I love the ethos of that being, the vision. I think that's what a lot of crypto projects are missing, the vision of like, we don't want to play in traditional finance. We want to make this the best game possible within our sphere. And there'll still be off ramps and things like that. But I love that that's you have a vision worth driving towards.
That's right. So that was the lending side of liquid loans is important to the system, but to me it was the stablecoin aspect that just really gelled with me. I just seen that that's a gap in the market that hasn't been properly addressed in a non-governed, no admin keys, decentralized fashion. This protocol does that. And not having a shot at DAI, but and I don't know how far you can go with this before they become regulated. So DAI is backed by a pool of, I think it's ETH, USDC, and Tether. So then, okay, are they then exposed to the same regulatory risk because they're holding USDC, which is then a derivative or is underpinned by US dollars? Like, does that flow through to them? And the answer is I don't know, and I'm not trying to FUD DAI or anything here. The answer is it's a very grey area, and I don't know, can the regulators keep inching their way in to assets like that? So that's
an interesting point.
Yeah, so that's my take on this particular on USDL and liquid loans as a protocol and the importance of that, the stablecoin aspect of it. To me, like I said, it's that libertarian sort of I can have control. I know my funds aren't going to get blacklisted. Because,
you shouldn't have to tell people about your money. It's your money. You shouldn't have to tell people about it. I don't care if it's 10K or 100K or whatever. Like it's not. Anywho, we're not going to go in that direction right now. I don't want to get pissed off. What do you think of Richard on Fox with Charles Payne? Like, do you think we'll see more of the national TV interviews? Like, was the bottom of HEX the day he was on there? Do you think like he's put the word out that way?
Like I think he done an awesome job given what he had to work with in the time frame. Like mainstream media, they've got to do everything in really small attention span grabs. So it was a 3 to 5 minute segment.
Yeah.
But he got across a lot, and he had to also battle through just stupid shit that they was digging up that 5 minutes of research would have cleared up anyway. So
I honestly think, coming from outside point of view, yeah, I know it'd be nice if they didn't mention that stuff, but I kind of expected it. I kind of was like, well, they're going to go Google them and they're going to get past the first page or two, and the researchers are going to be like, well, here you go. This guy's really interesting. We should ask him about this. Oh, you sure you want to have him on? Blah, blah. I'm sure like they had this whole discussion about it. Thankfully, everything worked out, and Charles Payne was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I want to talk to him because he's got all these other interesting things coming on. But I'm okay with those questions. I think we need to have good answers for them. I think he always does. And instead of not expecting it to ever happen, we just have really good answers for them. And there are good answers for,
for sure. And I'm hoping that was one of many. So maybe that was the icebreaker where you got to put this guy out there and you've got to get the FUD out of the way. And then maybe that frees him up to be able to come on more regularly, and they don't have to follow, like they've cleared the air on that. They can move on to other things. So hopefully, like you say, it does lead to other interviews, and it's not just a rehash of the same shit on every 5 minute spiel he gets to run out. Hopefully it allows it to grow a little bit, and just like I say, clears the air.
I think it's validating too. I think him getting on TV and generally national, like Fox Business, it's not like I think before Richard had been on CNBC Africa and stuff like that, which are, going to get a lot less eyeballs, and especially a lot of in the Western world where HEX is so popular, it's not going to have a lot of people who, have the means and knowledge about crypto and investment and all this stuff, money to put into it too. A lot of people are calling for sub penny. Hey, like, man, you could set sub penny HEX. That's a possibility, but then I don't know. He's on TV now. Does that? I wonder if the bottom is 3 cents or so. I wonder, because I would have never thought that before, but I don't know. It seems like a big deal.
No, it's and I don't want to be negative about that appearance because it was net positive. Like it was a good thing to have out there. I think it was fantastic to get that sort of attention and eyeballs. It's one of those things where people will see it once. They'll see HEX and they'll go, okay, oh yeah, and it'll wash over them, and then something else will hit them. Oh, they'll see it over here, and then they'll see it over here, and I don't know what the statistic is, but you need so many touch points before people go, oh, hang on, I'm going to have a look at this now, because it keeps popping up. Like it keeps coming into my sphere of influence or sphere of awareness, and they'll go, okay, I'm going to have a look at it now.
Okay, so maybe your angle too, you're thinking, well, if he has 2 or 3 more appearances, then I'll be like, all right, Hex.
Yeah, but it's that thing. So when you go buy a new car and then you start driving that car and then you tune into all the other cars on the road, and now you're looking for the one you have, and you've seen more of them than you ever have before. Like it's that sort of where it comes into your zone of awareness, where you don't necessarily need to see it on the same appearance, but you might see an ad in the what did we do? We had the Financial Review or something way back when. So you might see it in another form of media, or see it on a pop-up in your Twitter feed, and it'll just be that trigger point. So it doesn't necessarily need to be on the same show or anything like that, but just bringing it to your awareness all the time.
Well, if they saw him on Fox Business News and then they got that physical mail in them,
there you go.
Maybe that's a good combination. I wonder how many people that actually hit those two. They saw him on TV and then they got the mail and they're like, "Ooh, this Hex stuff. Maybe it's legit. Maybe I should get into that."
Yeah, and it couldn't work in the reverse as well. So maybe they got that stuff in the mail and went, "Oh, the Hex," and ditched it, and then they've gone on and said, "Oh, hang on, yeah." So it works both ways.
Yeah. Or maybe they got it in the mail, they invested, and then they saw him on TV. It's like, "Oh, God, I'm glad I did that." Could be. I want to talk about NFTs for a sec too. I thought a little bit about them. I'm not big into NFTs. I don't know. I'm not knocking anyone for getting into projects involving NFTs. It's fine. You do whatever you like to do. They're just not as interesting to me as fungible tokens, I guess, in that way. But what do you think the next evolution of NFTs will look like? Like $1 million monkey JPEGs, are they the highest potential for NFTs? Like, will we digitize other things? Virtual property is going to explode. Like, what do you see NFTs doing?
So I squarely sit in the same boat as you. As I'm not a massive NFT person, I do see I see the potential of them, but like I say, not in their current form. Man, it's just, humans are weird. We'll put value on anything. I mean, I've never been into Pokemon. I think I was a little bit too late in my generation for things like Pokemon.
Don't get on Pokemon. I think I'm gonna. I plan on doing a Pokemon episode sometime too, and it's a play on the Peter McCormick interview. The thumbnail with Richard and Peter McCormick. They did whatever hurt itself in confusion. It's hilarious. Yeah. But
but it's Beanie Babies and it's bloody everything. Like humans have a weird way of ascribing value to some random shit, but we all do it. So with the NFT thing, look, people have done really well out of selling a lot of these images. Kudos to them. I still haven't ever purchased an NFT for the image point of view. But that doesn't mean they don't come along with value. And so already NFTs are used within Uniswap. NFTs are used and they have a practical purpose for your liquidity position. So that's a thing. Like, that actually has some value ascribed to it. I keep saying value is a really weird thing to talk about because
Hedron HSI stakes, I'll mention that too. Those NFTs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so once again, that is a good use of NFTs where you can now tokenize a stake and move that around. For me, I like that as a security aspect. So I've sent out some long HSIs because I know that I can pick them up and move them to a different wallet. So for me, that's part of a security regime. So it will.
I would say on that point, I think that it's interesting that yes, I agree. NFTs are good for moving your stakes because you make 10 or 15 year stakes. That means you have the responsibility to secure that wallet for 10 or 15 years. That's you're kind of in security 101. You're reducing your attack surface, right? You're like collateralizing your ability
you're changing your attack surface.
Reducing your blast radius, if you will, if I'm going to use those terms.
Possibly, yeah. So So it may not be, if we're going down those analogies, it may not be a nuclear event if someone gets hold of your seeds now, and they can basically blow up your whole set of stakes. They can just bang, 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 emergency and stake them.
But would they do that as an attacker? Like if you're an attacker and you got someone's wallet,
I've seen it happen so many times.
Or would you say, I'm glad you made an HSI. Let me send these NFTs to my wallet now.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, in traditionally what I've seen happen is an attacker will get hold of someone's seeds, and they are relentless. People have 15-year stakes, and they'll just boom, 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 just emergency end them all. And they'll get
sad.
In some instances they'll get nothing, and in some instances the gas fee wasn't worth them doing it, because they realized after doing a few of them, they went, oh, okay, I'm spending more in gas than what I'm getting.
Yeah.
So it's wallet wide. That wallet is screwed, and it smashes all your stakes. Now, if someone gets hold of your seeds, it's always bad. I'm not saying putting them into an NFT or a HSI and an NFT gets rid of that risk. Don't misunderstand that. What it does at least do is give you some chance that if your seed words are compromised, you can move things around. Or if you haven't, more to the point, if you haven't set your seed words up in the most optimal way, or you've used MetaMask and now you want to migrate to a hardware wallet, this allows you to migrate in a bit better way. You can migrate to a different security model.
So it gives you a chance in a way. So let's say attacker compromises your seed words. In one scenario, they can either way they can transfer all your stuff, but at least there's a race. Like you have a little bit of time that if you realize it and they haven't transferred all your NFTs, your HSIs, whatever it is, it gives you a chance. Otherwise, if they already compromised your wallet and they see your HEX stakes there and they want to be real douchebags about it, they can just emergency instinct, regardless, and there's no recourse.
Yeah, and it may be as simple as, Jesus, you forgot your seed words, but you've got access to your wallet. I can move them off to something else as well.
Recovery aspect, I like that. Okay.
Yeah. Now, understand that you're substituting risk though, because now you've inserted the Hedron smart contract as a
all this assumes that Hedron is not going to fail. That's true.
Yeah. So circling back to the NFT thing, so there's value in NFTs now, where we're starting to see financial value bundled up in NFTs, whether it's through Uniswap LP tokens or something like Hedron. But then NFTs are going to allow you to do things in the real world. And they're really just like a virtual coupon, really. But I guess you can start. It's the beginning of what can be done with these things. So you might hold a Limp Bizkit NFT, and that allows you to go to their concert or get access to their album online. So there is tangible assets that can be linked to these things. But really, it's just a mutable digital coupon. Really, it's a gift certificate, is what it is. But hey, I think that's the start of this.
Yeah, I think that just the way they're used today, I don't think they'll be used anything like that in the future. The $1 million monkey JPEGs, I think that's going to be the crypto kitties of a few years ago. I think that part's going away, and they'll be more used for art. I mean, they'll be still used for art and things like that. A lot more legitimate art, I would say. And will be used for digitizing the physical world in a lot of ways, kind of like you alluded to.
There's nothing to stop. So all these apes and everything that are getting sold, and not just apes, but any other NFT, there's still the option to drive value into those NFTs. So the fact that NFT exists, you can now start assigning other things of value to those existing NFTs. So maybe those apes start, I don't know, maybe there's a movie made about bored apes and there's revenue stream that comes from that and it goes to the NFT holders. Yeah. So
what if we breed the apes?
Is that a thing? I don't know if you can. I know you can do that with some other NFTs.
I'm pretty sure apes can reproduce. I think we can.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm a potato noob when it comes to things like that.
You're not an expert in breeding apes. Well, I thought you were the breeding apes expert. Someone told me Jexxa breeds apes. You don't do that. All right. I was bad information, my bad. No, I was joking about so all this, they have what, Pokegam now. You can like mix them up and do.
Man, you're
stuff.
more ahead of it than I am.
I see tweets sometimes. I try not to spend too much time on NFTs, but CryptoKitties too. You breed them in the different colors, different stuff like that. So
that was pretty novel.
I like the next iteration of Bored Apes Club is like, oh, now they go into a bar and you get to pick which one.
Picks up another one.
Like you know what? Now actually that might be a fun game. Like you're in virtual reality, you're the Bored Ape, and then
it could be arranged marriages through NFTs.
We could have a Bored Ape versions for each culture. Yeah, there we go. Whatever you want. It's a virtual world. It's not. It's okay. Everything's okay if it's in the virtual, right? It's not physical. All right, we're not going to go too far in that rabbit hole.
Yeah, but I think that's where that
chat, calm down.
That bridge between the real world and the digital world. That's where I think NFTs will start to blur that line. And from a pure adoption point of view, they are an absolute powerhouse. Yeah. So
I think it does bring a lot of people who would never be in crypto, but they see NFTs and they're like, "Oh,
but let's do it." You know why it does that though? So what you're taking is, so you've got these digital assets that are based on network effect and can scale really quickly when they go viral, and you're plugging that into the social influencer network on
easily
YouTube.
Endorsed by celebrities.
Yeah, so YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, all your bloody your different platforms, but you plug that into an audience, and the nature of those platforms is they go viral as well. So a tweet can go out, or a Snapchat or whatever it's bloody called goes out, and
a snap
can go. You can tell I don't use it, and that can go viral as well. So you're tacking on this viral social aspect into this viral technology, and you're giving these influencers a way to monetize their brand in a way they have never been able to before. So it's just rocket fuel. So it just gets, like say, it gets millions of eyeballs, but probably on the wrong thing. But maybe it's a gateway. Who knows?
It does seem like a gateway drug into crypto in that way. Yeah. All right. One more question before we wrap it up. We got chat's getting rowdy. When I say chat, I just mean Jerry. He's getting rowdy with the gorilla talk. Pretty hilarious. So Jerry's a funny guy. What are some of the stuff that people are overlooking with PulseChain, PulseX? Like what, with HEX, they kind of got some of these fundamentals, and we really didn't know much about them until after it happened. Richard himself has said like, oh, I didn't even expect, this to be a thing in HEX until we launched it and we saw this type of network effect and these different fundamentals and stuff like that. Are there things that people just aren't talking about with PulseChain and PulseX that you could see becoming like just crazy fundamental when they come out?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be the adoption thing. So regardless, like we've got all these cool protocols that are getting built. You've got PulseX, Liquid Loans, like a raft of others. I won't rattle off all the other teams. There's a whole heap of them now that are building on PulseChain. That's really good. I think a lot of people still don't even know about Pulse. Like it is still very much gatekept. The people that sacrificed for it was what I believe to be a very small set of, even now, the people that know about it, because it was the launch process was reasonably quick, and it was the core group that were around Richard to begin with, and then there was a lot of influencers that seen.
Oh my God, Jerry.
There was a lot of influencers that seen what Richard done with HEX and went, you know what? I'm going to chuck some money into this because he pulled it off last time. he could do it again. But it wasn't. They didn't spray it out to all their audiences, and I think there's going to be two things will happen. So they're obviously already in it, and now we're starting to see the likes of.
Oh, I'm sorry. Killing me. These two, they're hilarious.
So yeah, I just think there's a groundswell of people that don't even know about it yet that are going to come along. Maybe there's a bunch of people down in the basement.
Why am I posting? I keep doing it. I'm enabling them. I'm sorry. I'm enabling them, but I think it was worth it. I haven't laughed that hard for a while. Jesus. Okay.
You get tears in your eyes.
Back to it. I'm removing it now. You guys are hilarious. I need Jexxa to finish answering the question.
We're almost through this. Gonna hold it together.
Oh God. Don't read it anymore, Jexxa. Don't read it. All right, Steve, that's actually pretty funny. I do like that. That's pretty funny. Steve's Australian, by the way. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
He's in America. Around. He's in America right now. We've adopted him, but he is from the Land Down Under, as he will attest.
Yeah.
Mom, the meatloaf! Meatloaf! I can hear it in my head. All right. No more comments about meatloaf. Jexxa. You're saying something about
I don't even know where we're at. I don't even know where we're at before that.
Oh God. All right. It's meant to be. It's meant to be. Go the Aussies. Yes, that's true. Okay. That's a good comment. All right, we're gonna end it there. I think I need to eat dinner too. I'm getting a little hungry. I had a banana, but don't make any banana jokes, Jerry. Thought I'd get more pool jokes. Didn't happen though. That's fine. I'm not using the background anymore because I don't like it. But it makes me like want to like follow the patterns. Like, are those routes? Are they going somewhere? What's going on? Keep looking at it. It's distracting for me. Blue, thanks for hanging in there. The last 5 minutes were totally my fault. But we got to go.
Before we jump off this as well, I want to give you a big shout out, mate, because for people that don't know, there's a lot of work that goes into putting these streams together, isn't it? We don't, in a lot of cases in the community, we do just jump on and riff, but in this case, there's a lot of work that goes into these streams that you're producing. I know you've done a lot of research and digging around to make sure that you're bringing good quality, so I shout out to you, mate. I hope everyone appreciates what you're doing.
I guess I do get some love. I always appreciate the comments. Blue in particular, Blue comments on so many videos with the flames. Amazing. I have a lot of regulars now. I appreciate the community. The community has been super welcoming the last few months. And yeah, like I said, I do put time. I do prep interviews. I do try to get the socials going and stuff too. So it is rewarding for me to know that people appreciate the content and to watch the channel grow the way it's been and have fantastic guests on that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would be, I tell people, I thought that would be the hardest thing. It's getting people to come on the show. And I'm not saying it's easy. And there's a lot of people that I haven't had on yet that I would like to have on. And maybe they respond, they don't respond, whatever. It's totally cool. But it's always nice to be able to get quality people to come on the show and to tell their story and to bring, answer questions and just engage and create this content that I'm privileged to put out. So I always appreciate the guests, and especially you today. It's been a great one.
Happy to be here, mate. It's good. Like everyone, if you haven't subscribed and you're watching, subscribe or tweet it out and make sure more people get an awareness of this channel. It's the more we can get this spreading around, it helps Pulse, it helps HEX, makes the community stronger, and hopefully there was a lot of good education in this one for everyone today as well. So hopefully there's that education aspect. So yeah, get it out and let's get some more subscribers for you.
Yeah, that's what you do, man. You are the education. You're definitely an education field as far as liquid loans and HEX Safe. And people check out Jexxa's. What's your YouTube channel?
I've got HEX Safe. If you just go Google Jexxa HEX Safe, I don't even know what the link is, but yeah, Jexxa HEX Safe, you'll find me. Should be the first one that comes up.
Jexxa has HEX Safe. Yep.
Yeah, there's security videos. There's the liquid loan stuff there, and yeah, I'll start probably doing a little bit more random stuff as well now, I think.
Yeah, I know. Well, as we approach the closer times for all the test nets, all the main nets, all the Pulse fun that we hope comes this year, but we have no expectations. And if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We all live our lives and be happy otherwise. But if it does come this year, and if it comes before PulseCon, gosh, wouldn't it be nice to come before PulseCon? We're all PulseCon celebrating. We're gonna be toasting with no champagne in our glasses. For a second, and we're like, no, let's have a good time. So
that'll be the calm before the storm.
Yeah. I think there'll be some good memes from that too. They'll be like, toasting with empty glasses and all the vaporware jokes. And it'll be funny. So it'll be good. Follow Jexxa on Twitter, J_JEXXA, Jexxa.
Yep.
You can see me, I'm Max, Richard Hart, Max. If you're not following me on Twitter yet, do that. I'm pretty sure most of you are, but if you're not, please do that. Also sub, as Jexxa recommended. That helps me get the message out to more people because the algorithms and the algorithmic YouTube likes people who have more numbers go big. So they recommend it to more people and stuff. That's the way it works in a way.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, we're the whole world, just a bunch of algorithms, isn't it? For better or for worse. Anyways, have an amazing evening, everyone, on Pacific time. Have a good evening Eastern time. You should probably go to bed soon, get up early in the morning. And have a great day in Australia, the sunniest place in the world.
Just getting started,
I guess.
Oh, just getting started. Yeah, just getting started. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's winter for you, right?
Yeah, winter for us. Yeah.
See, so many flip-flops. So many flip-flops.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for everyone in chat for tuning in.
Chat killed as usual. Appreciate it, everyone, and we are out.